Hey, what's up guys? So today, some pretty cool stuff happened. So I was away from home, and naturally when I go away from where I'm used to and I hit up some stores to try to look for some stuff, I hope that I find things that I can't find locally where I currently live. So that's what happened. So there's two things that I want to show you, two things that, well, one I was looking for and I was very happy to finally have found it, and another thing that I wasn't expecting to find it on, I wasn't even looking for it, but I got it anyway. So I'm gonna start off as usual with some Funko Pop stuff. So I was in Target. Really, no reason necessarily, wasn't looking for something specific in Target, just kind of looking around, checking out the pops, trying to see if anything at all stood out to me. I couldn't find anything, so I was walking away. As I was passing the section where the DVDs start, I walked across this display. It was a Funko display and it had pops. And then I saw this guy just kind of sitting there with some Star Wars pops and some Age of Ultron stuff and some Civil War stuff. He was just sitting there, two of these. And I walked by and I was like, oh, Vincent Vega from Pulp Fiction. Oh, that's neat. Oh, okay. So I was walking away, and then I thought, wait a minute. Did they reissue the Pulp Fiction line of Funko Pops? I wasn't too sure. So I got on my phone and I started looking up Amazon. I started looking up, like where could I get this from? And I just kept seeing these prices in between like 25 and 30 bucks. I go to Funko's website and this has a badge that's like, yo, it's vaulted. And unless they re-release these, not my Target, but the Target that I was at had some vaulted Vince Vegas there in Funko Pop form. So I got the one that had the best looking paint, and of course I left the other one there for someone else. But correct me if I'm wrong, but are these still widely available? Because I didn't think they were. And when I saw that it was there, I'm like, yo, I'm just gonna grab it. So I may have totally lucked out with this Vincent Vega Funko Pop from Pulp Fiction. Who would have thunk it? Like $9 at Target. That's pretty cool. So, yeah, Vince Vega. Of course, I'm not going to keep him in the box. You know what? Let's just open it. I wasn't going to open it. I was going to do that later. But since we're all here, we're all friends, let's take a look at this guy. There's nothing particularly special about this pop. It's not the best paint in the world. It's all right. It's a little muddy on his hands. He's pretty dirty, like right here on his ear. His other hand has some weird paint under his chin. There's like a little tiny rip, like if you took a pocket knife and went, eh, and that was the result of it. So it's not the best paint of a pop. It's definitely not the best looking pop that I have, not even close. But just the fact that I would never expect to find something like this in a store like Target, of all places, and I probably looked out with this. So maybe I'm making a big deal out of nothing, but at least at the time that I'm recording this, seems like a big deal to me. All right, so I'm gonna put him off to the side, and the other thing that I want to show you is something that I have been looking for ever since I found out that it even existed. And here we go. This is the DC Comics Multiverse figure for the Earth 23 Superman, the Black Superman. I didn't even know that they did anything like this, but this Black Superman's name is Calvin Ellis, and he is also the President of the United States of America on Earth 23. This character is literally based on President Barack Obama. It's true. President Obama made a quote a while ago about being from Krypton, being sent here to save the world, and they just ran with it. So they created this Calvin Ellis character, and he is the president in his world, and he is also Superman in his world. And just the fact that a character like this is so obscure, I had never heard of it. I think a lot of people have never heard of this guy. And just the fact that they will make a figure out of him, I think that's a huge deal. But if you are not interested in Mr. Black Superman and you wanted to see what the other characters are in this line, here they go right here. You can get a Batman, there is a Joker, there's a Green Arrow, there's a Flash, Reverse Flash, and Superman. And this is kind of like all those other figures, like with the, what do you call that, Marvel Legends and some of the Mattel stuff, where basically everything, every little figure that you buy in this line comes with an extra accessory that you can put together to build an exclusive figure if you buy the entire line. So in this case, it's the Justice Buster. So you collect all 6 of these figures. Each one comes with an individual part, and if you get them all, you can put them together and you can make a, an exclusive, most likely a large figure. I'm not a huge fan of the whole Build-A-Figure things because, it entices you to buy figures that you might not want, and there's 6 to collect. This was 20 bucks. I found this at Walmart. So just do the math. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120. $120 in order for you to build the Justice Buster, which in all honesty is probably not that great of a figure anyway. I don't think that these DC Multiverse figures are all that good. I'm going to take it out the box and we're going to take a closer look at it. My expectations are low, but I only really wanted this and only this in the line because I wanted the Calvin Ellis Superman, because it's a huge deal. All right, so let's take this guy out of the box. Let's see what he looks like. All right, so let's take a closer look at this Earth 23 Superman. And as you can see, it's not a figure that really lends itself to anything too complicated. The paint is very simple. The sculpt is quite simple. It's probably a sculpt that they've used a number of times on different things. I don't know for sure, but it definitely wouldn't surprise me. Everything about this figure is just as basic as they come. And if I were a collector of these multiverse Mattel figures exclusively, I would personally be disappointed. However, like I said, I wanted to get this Superman simply because of his origins, and man, when are we going to get another figure like this? So you kind of have to just take what you can get. So as we can see, like I said, it's just very, very basic. Now let's go over some of the articulation, which also won't blow your mind, but it is there. So let's just go over it. So for his head, naturally, you can move it to the left and to the right, and not really up, not really, and not really down. His arms, you can move his arms up about that high. It swivels at his shoulder, and it also swivels right here at the upper arm. And then you have a single jointed elbow right there. And then his hand can also move. It can rotate like this. So you have that in the articulation in his arm. Same thing for the other arm. Articulation in his leg. One thing that I was quite surprised to see is that he can do the splits. You can bring him that far out. And I was not expecting that at all. Another thing that you have here, you can rotate the leg kind of like at the thigh right there. He has a single jointed knee, so you can do that with him. And although he cannot pivot his ankle, he does have some foot articulation. It is on the ball joint, so you can move this up like this, and you can also move it down. So you do have some foot articulation. That's nice to have. He does have an ab crunch, as you can see the cut right there for his ab crunch, but that's as far as it goes. And he can move back that far, move forward that far. So as you can see, not really a whole lot going on. A rather unique thing about this Superman's cape, if you can take a look on the back of him right now, is it's very different than the traditional Superman's cape, in that it just kind of sits on his back. There's like a little peg hole right there. And the cape of this Superman is different than the cape on the Clark Kent Superman. This cape just kind of looks like it's just kind of there, almost floating in a sense. I'm not sure why they designed the cape that way, but you know, I don't mind. It's just fine for me. But yeah, it just kind of just pegs in right there, so it doesn't drape over his shoulders or anything like that. And this material here is very like rubbery. It's a very rubbery material. And the other thing that stands out on this particular Superman is the design of the S on his chest, which is kind of like the opposite colors of which we would see on the regular Superman. The regular Superman has a big red S with a yellow background. This one has a big yellow S with a red background. So it's like an inverted Superman symbol there. But everything else about this guy, I mean, like I said, it's just plain Jane. And It's not very exciting at all. And this is one of the things that kind of disappoints me about this Mattel line of figures and a lot of Mattel stuff in general. It's just that they charge 20 bucks for these figures, for these six-inch scale figures. And when I see the type of paint that they offer, along with the articulation that they offer, along with the sculpts that they offer, and I compare it to some other comparable price toys that I see from other manufacturers, first one that comes to my head is NECA, and how a lot of NECA figures come out costing between the range of 20 bucks to maybe about $25, and how much more you get for your value for something like that as opposed to something like this or the Batman or the Reverse Flash or whatever Flash. It's just baffling how, the quality of these figures just is not up to snuff. And now I guess they're so big they can kind of do whatever they want and nothing's going to happen. So I really wish that they would step it up in the departments of paint and just overall quality of the figures, because it honestly does not feel like this is worth $20, especially compared to the other things that you can get for $20. But this particular figure, like I said a few times before, it's really just all for the origin for me. That's the reason why I want him, and that's really the only reason why I would recommend him. And that is pretty much it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this look at these two things that I got, plus this review of the Earth 23 Superman. Still really glad to have him. Would like to pair him with a flight stand, because I feel like if you have a Superman action figure, you really need to do it justice by giving him a little flight stand and at least having him hover just a little bit with his leg off the ground so it can look like he's, just sort of hovering. And you kind of have to do that with any Superman. So thank you guys so much for watching. And if you want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe. And until next time, I'm Jeremy, and I'll talk to you later.